So welcome to Saturday Morning Vocal Technique Live, and this is session number 158. So get inside yourselves and really work out what are your issues with your posture. All right, so it might require, a little bit of shoulder easing. It might require some stretching, see how it feels to stretch, and then let your arms come back down without losing that lovely lift that you get in your lower ribs. Okay, feed yourself with, touching base with all those little pointers that you know so well. And then when you feel that you're in the right place and you've kind of got yourself in the zone, no distractions, then you can start to think about, well, let's wake up my thoughts about breathing, the whole process, and take yourself into that process in the usual familiar way that you would do that. I quite like the panting idea because that really makes me work out how I'm making these muscles work. Ultimately, what you're looking for is a sensation of expansion, but not here, right down here in your lower ribs, and then being able to maintain that lovely feeling of support as you exhale. And then the vacuum that's created by that exhalation, you allow the air back in such a way that the air is sucked in. You're not thinking, oh, must get the air in. The whole idea of what you're trying to do, like in the breathing exercise, where you have an exhalation, pause, reset, exhalation, is what goes on in that reset. Okay, that I can feel my whole system sort of saying, okay, yes, I recognize this pattern, and the panting is good, yeah. Okay, so it's really about exploration of those breathing techniques, the things that make you, oh yeah, okay, that's where the action is. Okay, so blowing a candle, like Sophia's suggesting, is a much gentler thing than which is a much more lengthy, gradual release of the air under some feeling of compression and control, if I want to use that word loosely. Yeah, the panting thing is it shouldn't ever be really that you run out of breath, because obviously with every pant, exhalation, it depends on that lovely even in and out of these muscles right down here in the bottom of your rib cage. Okay, so whilst you're doing all this, of course, you are checking in with your general posture, thinking about the stretch in the neck and how your head is actually sitting on top of your spine. You're thinking about that all the time. All right, so now let's do this. We're going to do some lip trills, okay? But what I want you to be more mindful of is how is your body responding to all these things, okay? So let's just do up and down the fifths. Okay, we won't go too fast to begin with. Rather than worry too much about your lip trills, hopefully you've got lots of things on the go in your head, right? But what I want you to think about is you, so like in a song, think about you. How am I actually standing? What am I doing with my head when I reset? Here we go, ready? Here we go, and expand. little go at the old lip trills there. I could feel my whole system. In fact, I believe, and you can comment too, as if you're really concentrating on that posture, the balance, the postural alignment, so many things just fall into place. As soon as you get slightly out of whack with the posture idea, things have to work a little bit harder. Okay, now with that posture idea, of course, into the frame comes how you're maintaining that posture. And if you're maintaining that posture in such a way that you've got a little bit of tension, that is not great. So this is where it becomes this wonderful word which we often talk about, this idea of tonus becomes intrinsically important, because this is what really supports you when you're singing a song. Okay, the idea of tonus is that it's not a fixed thing. It kind of is moving. Of course it is, because you're human, you know, and if you were moving about the stage, of course, you'd have a lot of tonus going on. So now we're doing octaves, and the whole idea is it's like a pendulum. You're not pushing or driving air. It's just even, okay? But you're still focusing on that postural alignment, which should make things easier. Let's do it slightly faster. Like that sort of speed, because if we do it slower, you might feel tempted to push air for the top. We don't want that. We want a nice sort of lilting feel where you're just resetting each time. And of course, onsets are a part of this. Okay, here we go. Ready? And careful here. Really trust, lean forward. Last one, folks. Okay, lots of things going on in my head there. The passaggio is definitely a dicey place because you're in a gear shift. You're at that point where you could push the voice up to get those top notes, or you could just support in a slightly different way, no abs tension, and it kind of puts a little key in there, and suddenly the top opens out. All right, so have a little think about that. We're going to now switch from lip trills into NG hums. Okay, now this is sometimes dangerous too soon. If you're not really in the physicality, not really thinking about your posture, you'll start to get all kind of bound up in the jaw. All right, now let's go back down here and let's consider the NG hum. All right, so here we have this onset is the same, and onsets are very important, but not just to do with vowels. It's actually imagining the moment when your little vocal folds actually come together, they meet, do their mucosal wave, and they cause vibrations. Eventually, it's very complicated, but your sound starts. So even with lip trills, you see, you've got to be careful that you don't creep in with them. It should be, and if everything is aligned and your larynx has got a really great laryngeal position because of it, and you're resetting, what's to go wrong? Okay, so now we're doing same exercise up and down the octave, but to an NG hum. And the difficulty here is because suddenly we've got the jaw and the tongue to think about. So let's do an exercise and then you can give me some feedback. Okay, ready? So same pace. That was not good. So the temptation is to push the air, but keep it very the same. And Steve, this is where eyebrows, anybody, eyebrows, extra things can come into play as if to help, and it doesn't. So again, we're still relying very much on our posture to see us through. So here we go, ready? And lean forward. Tricky. Last one. And both those exercises, the last lip trill and this one, we went up to a top C, just in case you're interested. Okay, and again, and that felt tricky, just going through the passaggio to really trust my body more than try and force my voice. Does that make sense? It's remembering, of course, that when you're doing NG hums, the tongue, the back of the tongue, right, the back, the sort of the blade bit in the middle, the back of that, comes up and meets the soft palate. That makes the So all your sound is being directed up and then down your nose. Okay, and so by nature of the fact you're just in between each one, you are dropping the tongue away. That little tiny action of reset sucks in the air. You don't have to put the air in the middle. Oh, excuse me. In essence, this is the kind of, if you can imagine that side by side all these basic vocal technique, never mind the fancy exercises, the basic knowledge that you all have about these 5 things that we talk about a lot. This is how you actually take all of this information that we're going through this morning and you put it into your song. And this is why you can see that you will not be successful unless you do your homework on the song, the language, the musicianship first. You know, you can't just sing through a song, and that goes for ensembles too. You have to have it in your blood. Your part, your vocal line has to be in your blood, you know, because you are putting too much information in off the page all the time, that your body cannot assimilate the same process that we are doing now with the vocal technique. So can you understand the frustrations that we all experience with songs repertoire, and we feel like impatient or maybe a bit embarrassed that things keep going badly, when really it's just a question of really getting inside the song via the language first and then the technique, that it kind of opens up the doors to this wonderful stuff. Okay, so now we're going to go into a slightly more complicated thing where we're still thinking about the drop of the jaw. Okay, and we're going to tack on a vowel at the end of it. And here we're going down a descending scale where you know what could happen. So it's getting more complicated with each basic warm-up exercise. You know, so think about it. And here, of course, we're also talking about the fact, what was it I was going to say? The light behind the eyes. Okay, now the light behind the eyes is not something like expression. It's not telling the story. It's actually a physical thing. We're starting to think about acoustical space. All right, so there's all of this going on. So we'll do the exercise and then we can report back. Okay, so I'm going to stick to R because that makes me feel good. I know I'm going to be able to really think about the light behind the eyes, okay? And we probably won't go quite as high up to the top C, okay? So we're going up the octave. Didn't take enough breath. Here we go, ready? So first check, because this is what we're really focusing on, is your posture. Here we go, and. Next one. Nice and balanced. Here we go. I'm thinking backwards, megaphone. Keep that jaw relaxed at the top here. Last one. Okay, that was the top A flat. Okay, I'd be very interested to know, especially for Sophie and maybe Grace as well, how that felt towards the top when those highest notes you got to the point of releasing the vowel, so going from the NG into the vowel. And Sophie, I think for you it's at that pivotal point sometimes on high notes that you just get a little bit of tension because you feel this is tricky. I don't know, obviously we're really focusing on the basic ideas. Okay, so we're still thinking about posture, onset. It happens every single time you release the sound. So question, how is my onset? It isn't that an onset exercise will make it better. Your onsets happen all the time. Onset exercises, specific ones, are great for kind of pinpointing. All right, so our last exercise, because we're going through all of them, we've done lip trills, we've done posture, onset, lip trills, NG hums, and we're actually dealing with the resonance, which we've called spinning or ping. Okay, so let's just do one more exercise that I would encourage you to do. Let's do this one. So here we will now introduce the 5 vowels, okay, which is another whole chapter or 90, and we're going to do are you with me? We're going to take a nice steady pace, not speedy. And this is now about you transferring your, whatever you've set up with your posture, your alignment, remember that. You've got a lot to be thinking of. This is really about onset, maintaining the airflow to the source of the sound and keeping it happy, balanced, connected, supported. All of those things are in this exercise, and I know it's one that's a favourite. Here we go then. All right, so this is trying to pull the whole picture in, and then we must finish. Here we go, ready, and my way a bit there. Now, if you are still with me, if you're interested, that was a top B flat. So this is lots of things to go, to go round and round in your heads over the coming weeks. And then I would really say, once again, it's really how you transfer this information to the problems you're experiencing in your songs. End. Okay, so let's now do our cool down, okay, because lots going on this morning, thinking about all sorts of wonderfully basic, fundamental things, but let's return majorly now to your posture alone, right? Because that is the guide. Your guide is your postural alignment. Is everything really aligned? Or do you get siphoned off by other problems? Okay, so now on our cool down, you can just concentrate on that. Here we go, ready? So lip trills, descending octaves down to wherever we need to go to. Get nice and settled in your thoughts. Here we go, ready? And no eyebrows. This is my danger zone coming up. Oops. Okay. All right. Wow. I could feel that in my body then. As I stopped, my body went, oh, thank goodness. Okay. And that's really how it should feel when you're singing, that your body creates the perfect situation to produce your sound. And whilst you're in that kind of relationship with your body, you continue happily and happily and happily all through the song until you get to the end. So you don't have lots of breaks in the middle. You're still thinking like a singer. And so when you get to the end and you've finished, you think, oh gosh, that was a workout. Oh, wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. And do think about the content of all of this morning, because this is what is really going to carry you through all those trials and tribulations that life brings. Okay, bye for now, everybody. Have a lovely few minutes. You and Grace, have a nice weekend. Okay, bye for now.